Hey everyone, today we're going to be going over the second part of the hero skills mini-series. Part one kind of will give you a brief overview of how to obtain hero skills, disassembling, and some other little tips and tricks. This video is going to kind of go a little more in depth into it. It's going to give you a generalization of the best skills. It's not going to give you the best skills for each hero, but it's going to give you best skills if you were to say, hey, I have to pick 4 skills or 3 skills. What should I put on my Navy, Army, or Air Force? I can't definitively say that I have the best skills for each hero, but I can tell you that I have a very good set of 3 skills, possibly 4, depending on if you use the exclusive skill or not for your hero, that will greatly benefit most people and their setups. So with that, let's jump into this. So first thing I want to say is exclusive skills. For the most part, every single SSR hero's exclusive skill I would not use unless it is level 4 or above. Katyusha might be the one exception where I'd say level 3 and above. There might be a few others that have that exception also, but off the top of my head, everybody's pretty much level 4 and above, and that kind of holds true. The next thing that I will say that pretty much every single March needs is the rare March size. You need to get that as high of level as you can, because that's adding exponential growth into your fight. Um, and when I say growth, I mean that's adding damage, it's adding defense, it's adding health, it's adding everything everywhere. So you got to think when you add a march size, you're not just adding HP, you're not just adding defense, you're not just adding attack, you're adding all 3 of those. So for each troop you add, you're adding all those things. So these are very, very important. The next one that's kind of a big one is damage increase. Damage is probably the most important stat in the game. If you don't know why, damage is basically it's a multiplier of how much damage you're doing, or not doing if you're doing a damage decrease, or resisting, I should say, would be a better word. And the bigger the number this is, the more effective it is. So getting your hands on some high level damage increase is also important. And then I like attack, especially once you start getting higher levels. That also equates into the damage, but this one's kind of up for debate. You could put damage decrease here. Some people use HP. That's kind of the one that I want to say I could tell you the best 3. But you'll see with my Tywin, I actually don't have attack on him. I have a second march size because, like I said, that extra troops really help. And once I get a high enough march size for Katyusha, I'm actually probably going to replace my attack and with a march size. So just kind of a heads up there. And then I do have the damage decrease on him. And with this, I don't want to tell you guys that you have to use these skills. I want to tell you guys that you need to experiment with your heroes and you need to find what works best for what you have. And that's kind of the big thing about this is you don't know what skills you're going to get every time you open those purple rare skill chests or the green normal skill chests or the exclusive skill. What you do know is that every 3 levels you merge gives you another skill. Every 3 levels you merge, and this is going to glitch out on me because I'm making a video. If I was to merge that, I'd get a level 4. So as you merge things, you get higher levels. So if I had a level 4 army attack and I only had a level 2 damage decrease for rares, I would probably put on the army attack just because it's such a higher level. And as you hit higher levels, it grows exponentially. So you'll see level 1 is 2.5%. Level 2 is 5%. Level 4 is 10%. Wait a second, that doesn't make sense at all. Level 1 is 2.5%, level 2 is 5%, level 3 would be 7.5%, and level 4 would be 10%. Once you get past level 4 and 5, that's when things really start to ramp up. So you'll see if I go to my army attack, it goes up by 15%. I'm going to throw on an HP here quick that I know I have a high level of. and that also still goes up by 15%. So it's going up very, very quickly. Once you start hitting these higher levels, that's where it starts to really help. But those are kind of the big ones. So like I said, rare march size, damage decrease or increase, and then damage decrease, attack, HP. Those are kind of the big ones. Some things I want to call out. I have a lot of people asking about crit damage, crit, hit, dodge. A lot of these things, like crit damage and crit rate and dodge, those three are all very RNG related. So you only get to benefit from those every once in a while. So I don't like to use those types of skills because you're basically gambling. You're gambling either you're going to do really, really well and get the advantage, or you're gambling that you have a skill that's slotted that you aren't going to get to use. So that's kind of how I feel about crit damage, dodge, and crit rate. And then hit, that's going to increase your odds of hitting, but still, that doesn't really, that's kind of falls in the same boat where, yeah, you're increasing your odds of hitting, but at the same time, you're kind of also fighting, hey, you're increasing your odds 2.5%. How much is that really helping you in every single battle? That means you're hitting an extra 2 times out of 100. So that means 98 times you're still not, it's still 98% not helping. Whereas if I'm using damage increase 5%, I'm getting that damage increase 5% every single time. So that's kind of how that works. Uh, Now, for skills that I would get rid of, if you're an army main, you can pretty much get rid of all your navy skills, and all your air force skills. Um, the reason I don't is because I like to prepare for the future. In case some heroes get buffed to the point where they're overpowered, I like to have things ready where I can easily adjust and not fall far behind. But if you aren't that type of person where you don't like to prepare for the future and you want to be as strong as you can now, you can pretty much get rid of all your navy and all your air force if you're an army main, because your army and your tanks are your defense. It works a little differently for navy and air force because they pretty much need to have a secondary defense. So if you're an air force, you might need to keep your navy as defense, or even keep your army as your defense. But then in that case, you can get rid of your navy. If you're navy and you keep air force, then you can get rid of your army. And that kind of just shows for the average person that you can basically get rid of at least one entire screen of skills because you're never really going to need them. The only time that you need them is server Warzone, and that's a very, very short time. And unless you're a whale, you're probably not going to compete in that. Very competitive, or be very competitive in that. I can show you. I finished 416th, and I don't even have anything for my Air Force. So, and then the rewards really don't vary that much. Where if you don't, unless you're finishing in the very top, you aren't really affected terribly if you don't do extremely well in that event. So you'll do a lot better in other events where you'll make up the difference if you get rid of those things. But like I said, I like to prepare for the future, so that's kind of why mine is how it is. Let me get back into these. Oh, beautiful glitching game. Um, so like I said, these are kind of the general. Hey, if I was to be army, I could put damage increase on. If I was navy, I could put damage increase on. If I'm air force, I could put damage increase on. That's the same thing with march size. That's the same thing with a level 4 or higher exclusive skill. That's the same thing with attack, HP, or damage decrease. The other ones are all kind of up for debate. Everything in the game does have its usefulness and its purpose, but that's all things that are more very, very specific, and you kind of have to understand what you have and what you're dealt with. Um, so, like I said, you can get rid of a lot of these skills. Even if you're an army main, you can still get rid of a lot of these things. Invulnerability, crit damage. This is my opinion. Remember, you don't think just because I'm on YouTube making videos about this that I know everything. I don't. And I highly encourage you, if you have something you can show me or want to show me that says otherwise to what I'm saying, please leave a comment. I'm always open to discussions and learning more about this game. But this is kind of the things that dealing with my alliance, server battles and things like that, that we've kind of found kind of reign supreme, um, just for your average player. Obviously, as a whale, if you're a whale, you will be using high level skills, and that kind of changes things. But for the most part, you want to be using higher level skills, out of those ones that I said. But with that, you got to use what's best for you and what you have available. Other than that, I don't have a lot for you on this. There will be a part three to this where I kind of break down heroes. Actually, there might be more than part three because there's a lot of heroes. I might break it into more videos, but I have to be able to get them all to a even point where I can test them with the skills, and that's kind of difficult. Being that I don't want to use level one skills for it because level one skills won't really show a difference. I need like level 3 skills, level 4 skills to be able to test this, so it might be a little while before I can test each individual hero and which skills are going to be the best for them. But I am going to be actively working on it so I can get that out to you guys. With that, like I said, please leave comments below if you have some suggestions, if you have any findings that you have that you want to share with everybody. I hope you have a fabulous day or night. Please remember to like and subscribe, and see ya.